My biggest surprise of the month, possibly the entire year. Hey guys, welcome to my September reading wrap-up. I just spread out my books on piles here, and it looks like I've got a couple of DNFs. What I'm thinking is like a 2.5 to 3 star. No, it's a 2 star, some 3 stars, some 3.5 stars, some 4 stars, and 1 5 star. So let's get into this reading wrap-up. So prior to doing monthly reading wrap-ups, it kind of bothered me that people always started at the bottom and then worked their way up to the best books. I thought it was like a ploy to get people to watch all the way through. And I don't know, maybe it is for them, but I'm realizing for me, I really want to get over the ones I didn't like over with, and then get into the good ones and spend more time talking about the ones I really enjoyed. So that's why I'm gonna do it this way again this month. So let's get my 2 DNFs out of the way. The first one I DNF'd was, there's a really loud truck, Illuminate. Now, I don't even know how far I got into it. Maybe 200-ish pages out of 600. 2 reasons that I DNF'd this. The first one, someone spoiled it for me. And I think this is a book that, if you know what I knew, I don't think it would be that interesting. Second, there is a lot of swearing. And for the most part, the swearing is blacked out. But if they use the word God or Jesus as a swear, that's not blacked out. And that doesn't really make any sense because it's still a swear. They're using it as a swear. Yeah. And also there was a lot of teenage boy talk about, I don't know, talking about each other's girlfriends and each other's mothers and that kind of thing. I'm too old to be reading this. I don't care. No, I'm done. Yeah, and I've heard really mixed things about Illuminate anyway. Some people really like it, some people really didn't. And I'm just not going to spend my time reading this series. So there's that one. The next one is The Black Prism. I actually didn't even start this one. Jared was looking for something to read after he finished a book that he was reading. So I said, how about this one? And I don't remember how he worded it, but when I did talk about that I quit this one in a reading week in review, someone talked about how they enjoyed this book, but it was crudely sexual, I think is the terminology they used. I'm like, no, once again, I don't need to be reading that. So many books I want to read. I'm not gonna waste my time on this. So this one's also gonna go. Next up is the one I think I'm giving 2 stars to. I didn't hate this book. I don't know if you can hear the Lego going on in the basement, but my kids are definitely playing Lego. Anyway, this is Ted Dekker and Tosca Lee's Forbidden. This was about, I think it's in the future and in the world where they've gotten rid of all emotions except fear. And then these people, a couple people, get this antidote kind of thing where they can feel all the emotions. And I just feel like this towed a lot of lines. They started feeling passion, and I mean, obviously, if you've never felt any of these before and all of a sudden you are, it's gonna be a lot. But it didn't have to be quite in there as much as it was. I think this is supposed to be Christian fiction of some sort. And I don't know, I just feel like Ted Dekker toes the line, and also half the time I don't even know what's going on. So this was my official okay, I'm done with Ted Dekker book. So I think I'm gonna give this one 2 stars. Okay, these next ones are my 3 stars. The first one was a newsletter subscriber recommendation. I'll leave the link for my newsletter. This one is I'd Tell You I'd Love You, but then I'd have to kill you. Pretty much the idea of this is if Harry Potter was a girl, Hogwarts was a girls' school, but instead of being witches and wizards, they were spies. So this is about a girl that goes to spy school, and she knows all about being a spy, however many different ways to kill a person and all of this, but she meets a boy in town and is doesn't know anything but boys because she's always gone to this girls' school. it was a fun little read. I think maybe I would have enjoyed this in high school. This is a series that I'm not planning on continuing, but I do think like my daughter will like this in the future. It was a cute little read, I guess. Then this was a suggestion from a YouTube subscriber. This is Rekindled. In this one, we follow a married couple who, I guess the man disappears pretty much right at the beginning, and she thinks he's dead, and then eventually he kind of comes back into her life, but he doesn't tell her that he's himself, and he's not recognizable, and he spies on her and thinks that she's been up to all these different things that she hasn't been up to. He thinks the worst of her, doesn't tell her that he's him, and I struggled with this because I don't care what state my husband would come back, like if he was missing and he came back and like just tell me that you're you, and like yeah, I struggled with that. That seems to be like a common theme in kind of like more westerny type books. Not really my style, but this did have some good elements of forgiveness and trust and faith in it. Next up is Under the Lilacs by Louisa May Alcott. I bought this one years ago because of the author. Didn't know anything about it. It has cute little illustrations throughout. So it's pretty much just about these two young girls who come across this orphan boy, or he's a runaway, I guess, and their family pretty much adopts him in, and then it talks about the sweet little adventures they have. And this runaway boy ends up working for a lady, and he helps with her brother who's kind of, I don't know, got some medical conditions or whatever, and that part felt very like Secret Garden-esque, where, you know, Mary goes and helps Cullen and stuff. I found it quite dull until the end. I was like, oh, cute, like this had a good ending. It's gonna stay on my shelf because it's Louisa May Alcott and it's a cute little addition, but I probably will never reread this. Okay, these next ones are all what I'm calling 3.5 star, because I couldn't quite put them on 3 star, but I didn't quite feel like I could put them on 4 star. I have been putting all the books that I've read so far this year on Hey Reader. I've been putting them in as soon as I finish them and then giving them a star rating at the end of the month. Like, so after this video, I'll go in and I'll put the stars in. And yeah, before September even, I read over 100 books. So I've read quite a bit this year. Let's start with this one. This one is White Bird. Now, I don't normally do graphic novels, but this one my daughter read and said it was possibly the saddest book that she has ever read. And so I needed to pick it up after that. It's a World War II story, and we follow, it's in France actually, which is slightly different than most World War II stories. And we follow a Jewish girl in France. Yeah, and it was a sweet little story. Sweet but sad, of course. This one's also going to go in that category, Words on Fire. I really do like Jennifer Nielsen, or I really enjoyed A Night Divided. This one, I just didn't connect with our main character as much as I would have liked. It's really close to being a 4 star, I feel like, but I don't think it just didn't quite make it there for me. This is in Lithuania when the Russians were trying to take over and ban the language in the books, and our main character ends up being a book smuggler, which sounds really cool. I just really struggled with her character at the beginning, but she does have really great growth. So this is really, maybe I'll bump this up to a 4 star. I can't decide. This is either 3.5 or 4. I might have to think about this one a little bit longer. This one, my biggest surprise of the month, possibly the entire year. Probably because I went in with such low expectations, but Life of Pi. First of all, I thought I was going to be like really bored throughout this book, and I wasn't. Honestly, it felt like a combination of Unbroken and Robinson Crusoe, which Robinson Crusoe is really boring, but like the idea of it. So I wasn't bored at all. And then the ending, I'm still like, what just happened here? For the ending, which is great. I love books that make me think. Honestly, I read Rebecca at the beginning of the year, kind of hated it, but I think about that book so often that I think I need to reread it because I think about it so much. So yeah, I don't think I will ever reread this book, but I quite enjoyed the story and then the like thing at the end. So I would recommend reading this if you haven't. My next 3.5 star, my last 3.5 star actually, is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I had really high hopes for this, which is probably part of my problem. Like, that's a theme. Honestly, if I have low expectations, generally I like a book more. If I have high expectations, generally I like it less. I like fairy tale retellings. One of my favorite things. I love the Beauty and the Beast story. One of my favorite things. This had some really great elements. Our main character has a medical condition that I'm totally blanking on. So pretty much her one leg has less muscle tone than the others. Powers of editing will pop up on the screen and tell you what I'm currently blanking on. So I love like a main character that kind of has like some things going against them, but she's feisty and spunky. I really like that. I quite liked her as main character. I liked that she was from this world, but she was taken to a like fairy tale world, I guess, where there's, you know, the beast has been cursed and all this. They're just, yeah, I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. So I do plan on continuing this series. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be 4 books and only book 2 is out yet, but I'm curious to see where it goes. Maybe I'll like it more after that. Okay, now we're getting into the really good ones. So let's go 4.5 stars. Is that what I said now? No, these are the 4 stars. I think so. I've got 3 of them. Where should I start? Let's start with this one. This is a middle grade historical fiction, The Great Trouble. This is about the cholera epidemic in London in 18 something. Let's see here. 1854. This is by Deborah Hopkinson. I think I read something of hers. Now I'm totally blanking. I think she writes historical fiction really well. This one was really, really, really good. People recommended Fever 1793 to me. People seem to really like that one. I like skip that one. I mean, I know it's about a totally different thing, but this one is like so much better. So we follow a boy who is a mudlark. So he searches in the mud for things in London, and his name is Eel that he goes by, and he ends up helping Dr. Snow, who's the guy who eventually figures out how cholera is spread. And I don't know, he's such a lovable main character. I'm rooting for him. He's like a nice kid, and I just feel like this was so much more well written than Fever 1793. With a little disclaimer, we did listen to it on audio. The narrator was not good, but I also think he was more than just a narrator. So I want to read more of her books. I see here on the back she has Into the Firestorm, which is the San Francisco fire in 1906, and I did buy one of her books. It's a World War II historical fiction about a spy, like it's also middle grade, but I'm excited to read that one. Then let's go with this one. So Synapse, I think is actually how it's pronounced. I've been pronouncing it wrong because I'm a reader that reads in my head. I can't read aloud. I mispronounce words all the time. Anyway, this is, what is this? It's like dystopian / sci-fi almost. In a world in the future where there are artificials, like robots, and we start out with our main character just has a miscarriage in a hospital, and as is the custom these days, I guess, they offer her a artificial robot instead that will act like a baby. Like, she declines that, sees a accident on her way home, and kind of things go down. She ends up getting an artificial, and like an adult artificial, not a baby artificial, and they have like really good conversations with like free will, and can artificials like robots go to heaven and believe in God and have salvation. And I don't know, I felt like Stephen James really wrote things that I think about when I read dystopian and sci-fi books, but never seem to be addressed. And I really enjoyed this. And I've taken out books by him from the library before, but have never gotten to them. And now this makes me really interested in getting to them. This one I think was a relatively new book. I think it was like 2019. So I wonder if he is going to like make this into a series. Yeah, 2019, because I would keep reading this for sure if it was. honestly, my 4 stars are like, I feel like they're really close to 5 stars. So they're probably like 4.5 stars. And the last 4 star is The Arithmetist. This is a Sanderson, somewhere between middle grade and YA, in a world where there are certain people that have like magic where they can draw chalk and things kind of come to life. And in this, we follow a boy named Joel who goes to this school for, well, I guess it's a school. Half the kids are arithmetists and half are not, but they're kind of like segregated. And he really wants to be a arithmetist, but was not chosen in the ceremony, whatever. I think it's when you're 8. And kids start disappearing, and our main character kind of digs into why. And this was really interesting. Like, honestly, I thought my daughter would really enjoy the first bit. It gets a little, like, she's 10 now. It gets a little darker in the last quarter. I feel like maybe I'll make her wait a little bit yet. But I really enjoyed the Sanderson. I mean, I have yet to read a Sanderson I don't really enjoy, but this one was good. Unfortunately, this one was written in 2013, and the ending says to be continued. And I know, based on what he has said in the past, that this series is not a priority for him. So I have no idea when this will be continued. But this was really good, even just if it is just a standalone. Okay, my very last book. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos lately, it should not surprise you which one this is, because I kind of like just raved about it as soon as I finished. The Reckoning at Gossamer Pond by Jamie Jo Wright. So this is a dual timeline, historical fiction, suspense story. So good, guys, so good. But like, spoiler for my video that's coming out on Friday, my reading vlog, I'm reading another one of hers. It might even be better, but I'm only 50 pages in, so I'll just wait a little bit. Okay, 2 different timelines. Now I have to think, what was the first one? 1906? 1907. And then modern day. So 1907, we follow a newspaper. I don't know if she was a writer. She worked in a newspaper. Anyway, she comes to work one morning and there is a obituary on her desk. Normal. Except this guy hasn't died yet, or hadn't died the day before or whatever. And so someone is killing people and sending the obituaries to the newspaper before they actually happen. Oh, and then like, in addition to like these murders happening, there's also these really creepy twins who are doing a tent revival meetings. Like, oh, she just writes so eerily. And then modern day, we follow a woman who is kind of got some secrets, doing some digging up of the past, finds out things. She works for, or created a shelter, I think, and one of the people there left her his house trailer, and she had never met him before, and inside of it are just like a wall of pictures of her from years and years and years. And so that's creepy. And so she inherited this trailer and all these pictures of herself, and she has to kind of like solve the mystery as to why he knows about her when she's never met him. Really good. I don't normally like dual timelines. Like, I always feel like, you know, you side with one character more than the other. You always want to get back to that one story. I didn't feel like that at all with hers. I was just like totally into each one, and we would flip back and forth, and I was just like totally into it. Yeah, this is going to go down as one of my favorites of the year, even if this other one of hers knocks it out of the water. They're both awesome. I don't even know. I would highly recommend this one. Okay, speaking of highly recommending it, I have been saying every 2 weeks I put out a newsletter talking about books, sharing all my recent book links, that places I've been talking about books, all the things. But I've been saying for the last few months, I want to give away my favorite book of the month every month starting now. So I'm going to be giving away a copy of this book. All you need to do is head to the link either below, or I'll link it above here, and sign up for my newsletter. The next time I put out a newsletter, which will be, what will it be? It will be next week, Monday, the 12th. I will tell you how you can enter to win this book. And I'm going to be doing that every month from now on for the foreseeable future. I will be giving away my favorite book for the month. Oh, could I do 2 of her books in a row? We'll have to see what next month's book is. Yeah, so my favorite book from September is this one. You can sign up to my newsletter to find out how you can win a copy. And even if you've missed it, if it's past October 12th when you're watching this, sign up because you can maybe get in on the next month. Yeah, so that's a lot of books. I'm gonna see if I can carry the stack without making them knock over because, you know, thumbnail picture and all that. Let's see here. This is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I only read 12 books this month, and then I DNF'd 2 of them. Like, so that would be 14 books. 12 actually read. That's quite a bit less than last month, honestly. I think I was 16 or 18 last month. I don't even know. Okay, let's do this. So these are all the books that I read or DNF'd this month. Let me know what you've thought of these books, some good ones that you read this month, and what you would suggest for the future. Thanks for watching, guys.